Hello, players. Happy New Year. I hope everybody's looking forward to a good 2020 season. I sure am. I'm going to talk a little bit today about coming up with some goals and developing kind of a game plan that may be a little different than what you're used to doing when you think about getting better at golf. So, most of you watching this video, I would assume, want to get a little bit better at golf. And, maybe you have in the past improved some, but I'd love to always improve faster and more efficiently than ever. So, hopefully what we're going to talk about today will help you with that. So I've been doing a lot of studying about human learning and learning skills, skill development. And one of the big concepts that comes up all the time is this idea of deconstructing a skill down to a smaller subset of skills, perhaps, and then really dialing in on the most important ones or the ones that give you the most bang for your buck. So we can think about it in golf terms as, golf itself is a pretty big game. A lot of different clubs, a lot of different kinds of shots, a lot of different conditions out there. There's a lot to it. If you go into like a practice session, let's just say, thinking, I'm going to work on my golf game, that sounds great, but probably isn't the best way. Let's break it down a little further. We'll deconstruct this into some of the smaller subgenres, if you will, of golf. So the way I look at it in golf, most of our shots fall into a couple different categories. Tee shots, shots off a tee, could be driver, level lie. Approach shots, pardon my handwriting, that'd be shots off the ground, usually second shots. Obviously, approach shots might not always be level ground, might not always be in the fairway, might be ball above, ball below feet, might be in the rough. We're going to have some short game. Shots that are less than full speed. And putting. You could say most of your shots, when you play around a golf, most of them fall into one of those categories. I mean, there's a few specialty shots you might have to hit, but it's safe to say that most of the shots you hit fall into those categories. So, instead of just going and practicing your golf game, you might be better off saying, I'm going to go practice my putting. I would say that's better than going to practice your golf game, but still not good enough. When it comes to putting, think about it like this. Let's deconstruct putting a little bit. There's some skills involved in putting. There's start line or direction. My handwriting is going to get rough. Direction, speed control, green reading. And then in all of these, there's some mental skills too, confidence, self-talk, routines, all that stuff. Just going to put mental skills. So even in putting, if you're going to go practice golf, you're going to practice your putting because you decided that's what you need the most work on. I want you to start thinking about what aspect of putting are you really going to cue in on. Maybe it's direction. Maybe you're having trouble starting the ball on your intended line. Well, guess what? Break it down even a little bit further. What is involved in that, right? We had our aim, putter face control, center contact, right? All those little things make the ball go where it goes. So we can take this type of approach to any skill in the game, and I would recommend that you do so. My job certainly is to help you figure out which skill is costing you the most shots, how to break that skill down into its most important pieces, and then come up with some ways to, practice that specific thing for a little while. And my recommendation here, I think a lot of players, when they go practice golf, they, maybe they go spend a third of their time on the driving range, a third of their time in the short game, a third of their time in the putting, or whatever, however the breakdown is. But if you really want to get good at one specific thing, or if you want to get better at a skill, you'd probably be better off saying, I'm going to spend most of my practice time, say for the month of January, working on my putting direction. I'm going to have some drills that help me with my aim, some drills that help me with my stroke, controlling the face, maybe some drills that help me hit the center of the face. If you just worked on just a small subset, and make that like the practice goal for the month, it's not like all this other stuff is going to fall apart because you're not practicing it. It might not get any better, but skills don't really just go away, whether it's golf or anything else. They'll probably stay about the same, whether you practice them much or not, and spend most of your time picking one little area, figuring out what exactly you have to do to improve it, and then once you work on it enough and go through some practice that with feedback and so forth, that gives you some improvement in that skill. That new skill will be with you for the rest of your golfing life, and you can move on to something else. I would say in any given practice session or any given maybe month of golf, you might want to have one or two things you're working on. Go to the course and say, I'm working today on my putting direction, and I'm going to work on center contact on my tee shots, or whatever the case might be. So obviously my job is to help direct you to the right skills and sub-skills within each area of the game, and also give you some ways to practice it with good feedback, ways to start it off kind of easy and make it progressively harder so that you're constantly challenged, and then eventually you can kind of put that one away. You'll have that skill built in for the rest of your life, and you can work on something else. So anyhow, as you think about your 2020 goals, maybe make a little chart like I just did. Write down some of the 4 areas of the game. Think about what you want to improve on the most, what you think will help you the most. I can certainly help you with that. And then let's chat and see what we can do to make that one area better. I mean, it might be a change of your swing, or a change in your mechanics, change in your practice habits, or maybe just your awareness. But if you work on any one thing a little bit more deliberately, I think you'll get better at golf a lot faster.